Hey everyone, today I have some pretty bad news coming out of France. Two studies, one conducted in a large agricultural region in the heart of France, and the other examining the country as a whole, counted the number of present bird species and their population sizes. The results were, in a word, horrifying. Dozens of bird species have seen their populations shrink, with species like the Ortolan bunting and the Eurasian skylark having lost about a third of their previous numbers, and species like the Meadows pipit having lost more than 2/3 of their numbers, close to a 70% reduction in size. Benoit Fontaine is a conservation biologist at France's National Museum of Natural History, and he was also a co-author of one of the studies. He has strong words about the recent data, saying, and I quote, "The situation is catastrophic. Our countryside is in the process of becoming a veritable desert," unquote. So how is this happening? What's going on? The data places the blame at the feet of insecticides and pesticides, namely the class of neonicotinoids that I've talked about multiple times now. These insecticides and pesticides, especially the neonicotinoids, are obviously bad for insects. That's what they're designed to kill. The problem is that when the insecticide is applied, it doesn't just end up affecting insects that prey on the crop plants. It affects every insect in the area, as the insecticides are carried by wind and water into nearby habitats. This leads to stuff like the collapse of bee colonies and the collapse of other insect hives and nests, and before you know it, there's no more insects. What we're seeing now is the emergence of the downstream consequences that I warned about. When the insects die, everything that eats the insects will begin to starve. Unfortunately, birds eat insects, and insect declines are quickly followed by bird declines, which have been accelerating since 2016. The National Center for Scientific Research was another institute involved in the studies, and an ecologist working for them named Vincent Bredinole said, and I quote, "There are hardly any insects left. That's the number one problem," unquote. I covered a study a few months ago that detailed how Germany's flying insect numbers have crashed, and now we're starting to see documentation of the subsequent bird deaths. Something on the order of 400 million birds have starved to death. More than this, birds are being pushed out of their habitats thanks to deforestation and land clearing for industrial agriculture. Bredinole also said, and I quote, "What is really alarming is that all the birds in an agricultural setting are declining at the same speed, even generalist birds, which also thrive in other settings, such as wooded areas. That shows that the overall quality of the agricultural ecosystem is deteriorating," unquote.